That's 3 in a row for the Buccos, baby! One more time for the home team. Woo! What's good, Buck Nation? It's your Rude Boy, and thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Tough Bucks. Before we get started, I wanted to give a big shout out to the Tough Buck Nation as we've surpassed 100 subs on the channel. Let's get it up. It's not really a big deal or anything, but I just want to thank everyone for all your support. Let's have a celebratory firing of the cannons for that one. Alright now, let's really giddy up. The Bucs came into week 14 trying to improve on their winning streak and keep their playoff hopes alive. However, it's too little too late as the Bucs have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. Nonetheless, the Bucs still had to test their skills against a tough Indianapolis Colts team. The Bucs had a rough start to the game, turning the ball over on their first 2 possessions. Jameis Winston would get intercepted on his very first throw of the game, which is his second time doing so and his 4th interception on the opening drive this season, by far the most in the NFL. In total, he would have 3 interceptions on the day, 2 to linebacker Darius Leonard, including a pick 6, which is Winston's 5th interception return for a touchdown this season. What? That's a franchise record, folks. The Bucs offense, however, would rebound from their slow start, starting with a 61-yard touchdown from Mike Evans, who would leave the game shortly after with a hamstring injury. All in all, it was a collective effort led by Chris Godwin, who had yet another solid game. Both tight ends had big plays, and rookie receiver Justin Watson caught his very first pass and touchdown. Let's go! The running game, however, was almost non-existent, but Peyton Barber had a nice 11-yard gain to seal the deal for the Bucs at the end of regulation. Let's get it up. Defensively, the Bucs front lines were able to put pressure on Jacoby Brissett, but this Colts offensive line didn't allow him to get to the ground much. Shaq Barrett adds a half sack to his season total, making it a solid 15, and shared it with William Golston. Coming into the game, the Colts quarterback was criticized for not taking shots and scoring enough points, but against this secondary, they were able to hit on several big plays. The pass defense of the Bucs struggled with the Colts, but made the stops when it mattered the most. Carlton Davis gave up a touchdown, but overall, his play was solid, getting involved in a few pass breakups. The defense struggled to get turnovers in this game, something they've been good at in the last couple of weeks, but managed to get one compliments of Devin White, who forced a fumble in the 4th quarter as the Colts were driving to give the ball back to the offense. And even though the Jekyll of Winston popped his head up and gave the ball right back to the Colts, the Bucs defense stayed resilient and held them to a field goal try that would eventually be missed. I like that. Jason Pierre-Paul had a quiet game, but a huge play batting down a pass on 4th and 2 with the game on the line and allowed the Bucs to preserve a 35-38 lead. Let's go! This week, the Tough Buck Award goes to your guy, Jameis Winston. My gosh, is it frustrating watching this man play. Coming into this game, the big talk around the league was Bruce Arians not being committed to Jameis until he sees how he finishes the season. But if you follow the Buccaneers, this isn't anything new. This is how Bruce has always felt about evaluating famous Jameis. In this game, the duality of Jameis Winston crept up. We saw a little bit of Jekyll, and we saw a little bit of Hyde. If you look past the 3 glaring interceptions, the resilient Winston would bring this team back from a 14-point deficit and threw a career-high 456 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, with a 5th scored on the ground, willing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a win. Here's to you, Jameis. Wow, what a roller coaster of a game that was, folks. And even though the Bucs have officially been knocked out of the playoff hunt for the 12th season in a row, they still have a chance to end the year with a winning season. To do so, they'll have to win out, which is what I predicted the Bucs could do after their win against the Falcons in Week 11. The Bucs' next challenge will be in Detroit against the sputtering Lions, who have lost 6 straight, with their head coach Matt Patricia officially on the hot seat. The Detroit Lions will be playing without their franchise quarterback Matt Stafford and their stud wide receiver Marvin Jones, both due to season-ending injuries. Third-string quarterback David Blau will be manning the offense and was brought down to earth last week after an impressive debut against the Chicago Bears during Thanksgiving. Against the Vikings, he struggled in the pocket and was flustered by the constant pressure. Overall, the Lions have a top 10 passing attack, but their rushing and points per game are in the middle of the pack. Keep an eye out on veteran receiver Kenny Galladay to make an impact against the Bucs. Overall, the Lions' defense is sloppy. Their passing defense is one spot ahead of the Buccaneers, which says a lot. They give up a lot of yards and they give up a lot of points. They do have some solid individual players such as safety Tavon Wilson and defensive lineman Mike Daniels. With the absence of Mike Evans, I would like to see this receiving corps, including the tight ends, to step it up and make big plays on a struggling secondary of the Lions. Our key matchup this week is the third string quarterback David Blau against the Buccaneers' young secondary. I'm only calling this out because the Bucs are notoriously bad against backups. The Bucs will likely be without All-Pro wide receiver Mike Evans for the rest of the year due to his hamstring injury he suffered against the Colts. Jameis Winston also fractured his thumb in that game, but all signs are pointing to him playing in Detroit. Last week I pushed on the spread and whiffed on the under, bringing my season total to 10-15-1. My gosh, do I suck. The Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites in this game. Last week, the offense of the Lions was atrocious, not gaining more than 100 yards of net offense until early in the fourth quarter against the Vikings. I expect the front seven of the Bucs to put pressure on Blau and force him to make poor decisions. If Jameis Winston can limit his turnovers to just one in this game, then I like the Bucs to cruise to a win. I'm taking Tampa minus 3.5. The over-under for this game is set at 47.5 points, and I have a feeling that the Bucs secondary will bounce back from a pretty bad week against the Colts passing attack. Look for Tampa to strike early and fast, and if they can get a nice lead going, then they'll control the clock. I can't imagine a banged up Lions offense to be able to put points on the board, especially if Shaq and JPP can get to the Blau. But these are the Bucs, so anything can happen. I'm gonna take the under on this one. And that's our Week 15 preview of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. Let me know who you think will win this game by leaving a comment below. Like and subscribe, and if you're a real tough Buck, then click that bell icon so that you get real-time notifications on when new videos drop. So until next time, Buck Nation, y'all know what to do. Keep firing them cannons.